So excited about our summer sketchbook series, and I have gotten so much feedback. Crazy. I am so excited. People leaving comments on my blog, sharing my posts on Instagram. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And this must be something we all want to do. So I am going to kick it off today, and I have planned out, I think I can do 10 weeks of this. I think I looked at my calendar today. I think we could do it every week and meet so that we fill up our sketchbooks. So I want to start with, oh, I just closed my computer, so I want to make sure it's there. Okay, okay, there I am. In my foggy thing here, which is bumming me out because I'm going to say this. So for those of you who are watching this on YouTube, I don't know why it's foggy. You know, there's always something with the Facebook Live. So some of the things I want to talk about before we get started is that your sketchbook, it doesn't have to be fancy. It can be anything, and sometimes if you buy a really inexpensive sketchbook at Michael's with a coupon, that's great because you can do so much in that. Or you can buy a fancy one. I know a lot of you, based on the comments and conversations we were having on my blog, you have these beautiful sketchbooks, but you're afraid to use them. But when you use them, it becomes this kind of organic place that your ideas are incubating, all right? So we have these ideas, and this is not about making, a final piece of art. And I know that when we go through our feed on Instagram, there are like these amazing, perfect, beautiful sketchbooks. They're works of art. That's how the artist is expressing themselves. I don't create perfect sketchbooks. Mine are so immediate and messy, and then often I'll go back in, I add things, I rip things, I just I get into the creative flow with my sketchbook. And so it can go from something that's like this, brand new, to something like this, and that's, to me, is beautiful and magical when you just start adding layer upon layer upon layer to your sketchbook. So yes, you can save it, but then what happens? It's just another empty. It's empty. It's empty. You need to put you into this sketchbook. So you want to, let's see, I have written down some notes I want to talk to you about. Okay, so your sketchbook should reflect what you're interested in. So I have some things I'm interested in right now, which I'll share with you. It should reflect your personality. It should reflect what you love and what you see, how you see the world. It's really important. And it's personal, and this is where you're very honest with yourself in what you're capturing. You do not have to share this. And so many people feel compelled, like, I really have to put this on Instagram, or I have to share it in the group. It's a really big step to share what's in your sketchbook because it's so personal. So don't feel, create something else to share. You don't have to share this, or you can share a snippet of it. Like, I crop things sometimes, or I shoot at angles where I want to keep parts of it personal. Because this is really it's your process. And each one of us, as we grow as artists, we develop, our process continues to grow and grow. And this is what I do in here is really first. This is the first inkling of an idea. And it's also where I practice. I create exercises for myself. It's where I make notes, I make lists. I have sketchbooks everywhere, different shapes and sizes. And you don't need anything fancy. And I want to keep this summer sketchbook series kind of simple as far as tools go, and think more about capturing your ideas. And then maybe, let's say you want to draw your pet. So you sketch your pet, and then you sketch it again and again and again. That's an exercise. You're going to do it over and over and over and over again. Or if there's a flower, you're going to do it over and over again. And by using different materials, you're going to get different effects. By using the same thing over and over, let's say you're going to use charcoal over and over and over, you're going to figure out new ways to use the charcoal. What happens with this? What happens with that? And you will gain confidence in your art supply, in your medium. So I want you to do whatever you feel compelled to do with this. I'm just going to share with you some of the things that I do and give you some ideas to help you move through it. And I have a whole list that I've made in a document of like 16 ideas so far of what we're going to do. And they're all about being loose, capturing something in the moment, not judging yourself, and practicing things you want to practice. Okay, and that's one of the things I'm doing. So with that said, let's see, I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to show you what I have here and how you can get started. All right, so here we go. So first of all, the one thing that I saw as a common thread was the brand new art journal, brand new sketchbook, the first page, and the fear of beginning. So there's a couple of things that I do. One is I don't start on the first page. I go in the middle of it and I do something in the middle. I just pop it open and do something. And that gets me started because it's in the middle. The other thing that you can do, which we're going to do today on one of the pages, and I did this last night actually because I had not started on the first page and I really like it. I'm going to use a couple different pens and I'm writing out what my intentions are for this sketchbook or for my practice or for the exercise. It's just kind of stream of consciousness of things that I want to do, but you can't read it. It's real scribbly. I use different pens and and then while it was wet, I taped this little leaf from my rose bush and I went like this. And that got me over keeping this perfect. Now, I think this looks beautiful. You may like, oh, that's so messy, but it helped me. So we're going to do this again, and and you can do it with a ballpoint pen, a pencil. You can paint a poem like I did on the back of this book, just paint all the words connected together, which I think looks really beautiful. So we're going to do something like this, and I'm going to put that aside. Put this aside. I'm just going to share with you some of the things that I've been working on this summer. So this is one, and I don't know the name of this book. I bought 2 of these. They weren't through Amazon, and I have to go dig to find out. They're okay. They're okay sketchbooks, but I started just sketching these flowers. So this is kind of where I am in my process right now, and I'm playing with flowers. I'm kind of keeping it close to me. I'm not sharing a lot of this right now as I explore and experiment with drawing flowers. I made a copy. So this is kind of a developing of something I want to work on. Okay, so I'm kind of flipping through it quickly. And this is a rose from my garden, which I really like this one. So maybe we'll do something like that. All right, so that's what and then I sit down, I'm sitting down on the couch in my studio, wherever, outside on the back porch, and this is all I brought to do all of these sketches. Some of these I did at in the peony garden. There's a couple of them in here that I did, not that one. In the peony garden, I was sketching quick. So you can tell they're much faster and they're not heavily worked. So I am just working with very simple tools, and that's it, as I play with these ideas of flowers and what I want to do. So I'm experimenting. This is my experimentation, and I'm doing them over and over. I'll do like 3 or 4 in a sitting, and I'm not spending a lot of time on there. So that's something, whatever your subject, pick a subject. It could be a small sculpture in your studio. It could be a beautiful bottle. It could be a little, teacup, whatever you want to do, but make it really simple. Don't pull out all of your art supplies. So the other thing that this book is called Handbook. I like these. I have them in every size. I've shown you these before. So here's some more of my flower things. Got a little pocket. And I've used this one quite a bit. So this one is like when I went to Italy, there were all these beautiful flowers on buildings. And so I was just quickly capturing that. So here are more things. And then I started looking at my photographs from Italy and started creating these little pictures, you know, of the landscape. This is a sculpture from Italy that one of the villas we went to. And then I just started playing around, really getting big and bold and loose with my flowers. And I'm gonna keep this one open. Then I just randomly drew this woman, and then I was doing squiggles. And this one is like, this is a master work, and I was playing with that last night. So I'm gonna talk about this a little bit in a bit. So I am filling up different sizes, and I'm doing them over and over. This is like a Strathmore paper. It's a creamy drawing paper. I don't know what this is. It's kind of firm. I will have to dig through my email because I do kind of like it, but the pages seem to be falling out too. So I'll get back to that one. This is a similar one. It has the elastic, and so there's really nothing in it right now, but hopefully I'll fill it up. So I have this, and it's this bright white paper, which I do like, and it's very, very smooth. So I may be working in that one this summer. Let me put that aside. And then this one is really fun. I like this, and I've called it Summer Flower. So this is another option. Oh, there's Millie. Another option for you to take one and put a title on it of something you want to draw and make it, give it as an exercise. So if you're drawing contour faces, maybe you want to work on contour drawing, and you just do the whole thing at one after another and time yourself. So here's first page. I just pressed a little flower in there, first page. So I didn't do anything to it. It's like, oh, I have something now. And then I just kind of played around roughly with some lights and darks. It's not fancy, it's not great. I would not gonna put this on anything, but it was an exercise in looking for me. And then I started another one. But I like the craft paper. And this is Sea White of Brighton, and it's on Amazon, but I love the little ribbon. I thought it was really cute. I stumbled across it when I was searching for something. So that's kind of a fun one to do. I'm gonna put this aside over here, and let's see, what is, I think that's what I want to show you. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna get rid of that first page, getting that fear of the first page. So I think I'm gonna use this one that I don't know what name it is. And what I've done is I've taped off the borders. And I have some ink. I like to use this Speedball ink. Okay, are we all, you see it? Just wanna make sure, I'm just checking in with you, make sure everything looks okay. All right, now I have 3 different pens. I have just an old-fashioned calligraphy pen, I have a ruling pen, and I have this bamboo pen. And so we're gonna pretend this is my first page because I have something on my first page. I did a little color swatch. We're gonna pretend this is your first page. So let's say you have your brand new, beautiful journal that you bought in Italy and it's been sitting there and you're afraid to make a mark. Well, today I want you to make a mark. All right, you can do it in pencil, you can do it in pen, you can paint it with a paintbrush, anything you wanna do. So what I'm gonna write on here is kind of just my intentions for my practice and different techniques I want to think about, like repetition and making things larger, making things smaller, working on the elements of my style, like my line and shape and form and mark making. So I'm going to kind of think about what I want to say, and I'm not going to think too long, and I'm going to write it out for you guys. And I'm not going to tell you every single thing. I'm just going to start writing. But I think I'll start with this bamboo pen. So I just put some ink in this little glass container, and this you have to dip. Oh, it doesn't hold the ink for many letters. I like that. Okay. So now I have messed up the first page. That's the pretend first page. And I have this mess over here and like, oh, I'm gonna stress out. No, I'm not gonna stress out about it. It's fine, it's fine. Because I can do something on this. I can take a roller, I can do like cool black marks. Let me see, let me try something. While you're here, hold on. Okay. All right, let's just put some black marks across here. All right, so I have something here. And who knows where it will go from here? I don't know. I just put that on there. I kind of like it. And I can take a piece of vintage paper if I want and put it on top of it, add stitching. But when you mess up a page, and that's one of the things I have written down on my list is what do we do with a page we hate that I really messed up or you think you messed up? Well, it's an opportunity. So that's what we're going to explore. So I'll come back to this, but I just want to show you. So this is already ripping out from, it doesn't seem to be bound really well. I don't think I paid a lot for these, but I thought they were cool because they lay open very flat. So we'll come back to that, but I like how that looks. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about as we go through this little experiment is one thing to consider. We're going to talk about line, all those elements of style, but I think there's one thing that's really beautiful, and that is, and I don't think we always think about it, is the negative space. So when you're drawing something, let's say you have a photograph, and in that photograph, there is negative space because whatever your subject is, you know, the space around it is considered negative space. And it can even be, you know, tiny little spaces. So what the little lesson I'm going to do today, let's just go, I'm going to take this book here. And what I want you to try is to take, I'm going to use a number 2, I think. I have a 2, a 4, and an HB. And I'm just going to create like a little box to put my drawing in. So I'm just going to make a frame. So it's not just floating in the middle of the page, all right? I like to have a frame. And let's see, let's take this rose here. All right, so these little roses from my garden. And isn't that pretty? And then I'm gonna take some of this charcoal too. So I might do a little bit with this. All right, so let's see. So I'm just going to capture it very quickly. And I have it turned, let's see, so you can make sure you can see everything I'm doing. And I'm gonna start off the page here. I'm just gonna bring this down. And I am gonna look at, kind of block in some of the shapes that I see first before I start drawing them. So I'm just looking at kind of the form and the shape of the petals. It's not important to me to create a perfect rose. That's not my intention. It's not what I want to do. And so now I'm just going to go through, here's my center, and I'm going to just sketch because it's my sketchbook and I just want to sketch. I don't want to really spend a lot of time pulling out my paints because I have to think differently. I just want to capture, I want to practice. It's a little exercise in doing something quick, and I want to think about the negative space. So there is a quote by the composer Claude Debussy, and I know you all know him. You know the piece of music. It's very famous, Clair de Lune, and it's like, I think called pastoral. It's like this very gentle music. And the quote, which I use, I think about his words of advice when I'm choreographing. And he said that music is really the silence in between the sound. So there's the silence or if you didn't have that silence, it would be continuous noise. So I want to relate that to my artwork. Like, where is the silence? And for me, it could be different in different paintings and different things that I put together. But I was thinking about that, and that's kind of how I came up with this plan for today, to think about the negative space, because that's the silence to me. So when I finish drawing this, we're going to then identify it. I think he even said, like, if you take a cup, what's inside can be considered the silence. It's not just the cup itself, it's what's the emptiness inside the cup. And then when you fill the cup. So there's different ways of thinking about this concept of silence and quiet. So, like, for example, when I'm choreographing a dance, I want to make sure there's moments of where the bodies stop, or there's quiet, or there's a small movement, or the composition changes from a whole big group to maybe a small group to the downstage. So think about that, like, where do you want the quiet to be? Because it's really important to have those moments. And if you're an abstract artist, I'm changing to a 4B. If you're an abstract artist, where's the quiet in your composition? Think about how it's flowing, how you're moving your paint around. All right, so let's beef up this a little, and I'm just gonna create my own leaves. Okay. Let's see if I can get a little bit more. So what I'll probably do is go back and start playing around with this little flower and making more marks and just experimenting with my line work. And that's going to be another thing that we're going to talk about, your line. The line is really so important. There's so much power in how you create a line. Okay. And when you're sketching, you don't have to draw everything you see, because as humans, our eyes get it. We pick up, we fill in the blanks with the information. Like, I know that I didn't draw a perfect leaf. It's just, that's the idea of the leaf. Maybe I want to pull out some highlights, or I could use a white pencil and put in some highlights. And where the petals overlap. So, okay, so there is a little sketch that I put in my sketchbook today. And so let's talk about the negative space. So if you can see, there is this, I have a little mechanical pencil. There's that shape there. So you can choose how you see it and how you do it, but here's negative space. So as you're drawing, even though I made up my leaves, how do you want this? It could be your beautiful background color. You could put mark making in the negative space, but it's really important to look at that, because it's a big part of what you're creating. And what I would probably do, and what I have been doing, is I'm doing it over and over again. I'm playing with the lines, I'm playing with the flowers, and I'll look at my reference, I'll take a picture of it, it's on my phone, and then I kind of zoom in, I go back and forth, and I look at it, and just start making these decisions of how I want things to look. So let's see, where's my, oh, here's my one, I'll show you. So this was just very quick, but it was very simple tools. I just used pencils and a little soft charcoal, and I have my kneaded eraser. I can go in if I want to pull things out, and I can like smear something. I can erase anything. That's where you can experiment. And let me go back to my experiments here. Let me find my rose that I did. So here's my rose. So I took a picture of it, and then I just started playing with like the movement, and you can see how I've gone over and over and taken different pencils and gone over this. I'm not worried about messing it up at all. If I want to push myself to see where I can go with my drawings. If you are an artist who wants to do photorealistic drawings, then you're going to approach this in a different way. You're going to really focus on your block in. So as artists, you have two ends of the spectrum. You have photorealistic, fully rendered, representational art, okay? Then you have abstracting the whole idea, abstraction, non-representational art. Then you have this whole area in between, which is, to me, the fun zone. So that's where I want to be. I want to be in the fun zone because this is way too much pressure for me. I agonize, and there's some parts of it I like, but I am not a photorealistic, fully representational artist. You can tell this is a flower. You can tell this is a flower, but I'm pushing the flower. What can I do with the flower? What can I do with my hand? What can I do with my arm? What happens if I stand up? What happens if I sit down? What happens if I turn this? What happens if I use this big chunky piece to put a mark inside my leaf, okay? Or that. And I'm not attached. I want to experiment with it. Now, if I fill up this entire book with all of these, they're gonna evolve as this book is evolving. And I go back and I kind of play with lines. I keep going back and looking at it. How can I push this? So it's this development of my creative process in what I'm doing. Okay, so let me see. Oh, I gotta show you something else before I turn it around. All right, so that was that. Now, at the beginning of the year, we created our Creative Clarity Journal, our little book. And I have not finished mine yet, but I wanna check in with you. And I'm gonna show you what I did. So on our road trip, I took this. Let me fix this a little bit. I took this, and inside of this, I was in the car. I'll show you in a minute. I brought a tiny pair of scissors and embroidery thread, okay? And I don't know if you remember her, but I've made progress. I'm so excited. I put a little needle in here. So I've done her eye, I've done her collar, and I did her hair, and I'm super excited. So if you recall, I don't know if for those of you who were here, that was like a disastrous day for me. And I made a bunch of these faces using canvas, Stabilo, and water. And one of them I made the water, I was talking and the water completely saturated and it looked like something from a horror movie. She was terrible, but I fixed her up. And so I have her in there. I was gonna make her a page in my journal, but I kind of love her and I don't want to stick her in my journal. So I'm thinking about something else. I'm not sure yet, but I want to keep working on her, but I wanted to show you the progress that I made because I like it. I've had a really great time just sitting in the car, talking to Mark, stitching away. This, by the way, is really hard to stitch through. And I used a tapestry needle, which seemed to be easier than a regular needle. It just went through. I tried so many of them, but I have some kind of fun stitches happening here. So let's just look. I have yet to do my cover, and I kind of know what I want to do. It's going to happen. But the most important thing is my goals. So let's all go back to the goals you wrote down. There is the Creative Clarity Workbook on my website for 2022 that can help you kind of think about. A lot of people have already downloaded it. It's a free download. And you can narrow your focus on what you want to do, because being an artist, we want to do everything. We want to paint everything. We want to draw everything, and we don't have the time to do all that. So by narrowing our focus and making sure everything we do aligns with these goals, you can accomplish more. So for example, this summer sketchbook thing is important to me. I didn't have it in my goals, but I'm adding it, and I'm just spending like the evening sketching, or if I'm sitting out in the morning having my coffee. It's not my full day. It's kind of the bookend of my day. So for me, I developed and filmed the workshop, the Found workshop. That was my number one goal. I did that. I'm so happy about it. And I love how it has unfolded. I also wanted to start doing consulting. And I've done a little bit of that. I have 3 or 4 consulting clients who I've talked to, and I like that. I haven't made a big deal of like putting it out in the world yet. And I'm kind of fitting it in with my life right now, and it's great. I love doing it. I love it. And so because I love it so much, and talking to these different women artists and helping guide them into where they want to go, I know it's something that I want to carry, I want to make more space for in the future. I had studied still life, and my goal was to paint a painting every week. Well, that didn't happen, but I have been taking my art lessons, and Carolyn, my art teacher, who was our special guest on the Found Zoom call, she and I do a drawing. Almost every week I meet with her and we work on a still life. So I feel like I am practicing. They're exercises, it's practice. I set up something. When I first started, it was elaborate, this whole elaborate still life. And now it's like, let me just draw this bottle, okay? So that's what I've been doing. So I am kind of doing it. I have some books, I've been studying it. And I really love, if you follow me on Instagram and some of the pictures I put in here, I have like a studio moments. And I have been, I take pictures of these moments that are not styled, but then I also like taking things and arranging it and styling it. So that is an element of still life too, where I can take things and put it in a space, light it, and play with it around with my filters. And I find that extremely enjoyable. So I'm clumping that into my still life. And right now it's in process. My summer art class, gonna be summer florals sometime late this summer. I'm super excited about it. And over there in that part of my studio is lesson 1, getting ready to film. It's all set up. I'm super excited. And then my blog. So my blog is, I actually have been making some posts. So I am really enjoying that. And I really enjoy when you come and you comment on my blog, because most of the time I go back, except for during my birthday celebration. That was like 182 people posted on that, and I tried to answer everybody, but it's like, oh, I gotta go. So I'm having nice conversations with people, and I love that. I love hearing from you, and it's fun on the blog to kind of write about what I'm doing. So I want you to check in with your goals. If you'd like to share what you've accomplished with us here in the community, we are excited about that. For those of you who are new here, my little library due date card was my dates that I did. And I just stapled something in there. It starts with intention. I have an old postcard that was from my conversations class that didn't make it into the class, but I like that a lot. And so I have a couple extra sketch pages here. Let's see what else is in here. And then there's the traveler. She's traveling through. This is from a Dutch artist. It's a masterwork, and I did a little bit of sketching on the back of my meadow, which made me think about the summer, because I want to do a summer class on flowers. And then we did these thumbnails in one Facebook Live, which was kind of fun. And I wrote down the colors and what I thought about, and I really like how they came out. And then there's my traveler again, and which I just drew her and stitched her. And then you can put photographs in your book. And I put my grandparents in there because they're so cute, aren't they? And then I have my vision statement back here about what I want to create, and some other things. So now what I have to do is I have to stitch it together, and I need to do a cover. So that is where my progress is, and one day I will get there. Hopefully my goal is before December to get my journal done, but it's okay. I just wrap a ribbon around it. It stays in my studio. All of this is together. It makes me very happy, and there we go. All right, so have a great weekend and work in your sketchbook. Just do it. Make that first messy page, tape something in there, scribble something. You can do this, and think about negative space. All right, I will see you all next week. Thank you for being here again. Bye.